Welcome to the Talk to RJ show, where we dive deep into the minds of some of the most inspirational technology entrepreneurs and tech sales leaders out there in the world. Hi, my name is Ratnesh Jain from Quorum Sales Consulting. And today, we are breaking one of the best kept secrets of the fast growing SaaS companies. Ever wondered how some SaaS solution providers seem to skyrocket their revenues within the first few years? And what if I told you that the secret sauce isn't just about having a groundbreaking best technology product, but it is also about how you bring it to the market, the routes to the market. Today, we are incredibly fortunate to have with us a special guest who is not just walked this path, but has paved new ones for others to follow. Anuj Joshi is our guest today. With a career that spans over 2 decades, Anuj worked for some of the best tech brands and leaders like Autodesk, EDS, IBM, Sun Microsystems, and Amazon, and was at the forefront of building, developing, and managing tech channels. And now, he is the founder of Channelworks. Channelworks isn't just a platform. It simplifies the complexity of discovering, developing, and managing global channels for SaaS solution providers. But what inspired Anuj to create such a pivotal solution? And more importantly, how can SaaS companies today, whether startups or established, leverage channels and alliances to grow fast? And there is much more in today's sessions. So, if you are in the SaaS space, looking to multiply your revenue, or simply curious to understand these most powerful routes to global markets and grow sales, you cannot afford to miss a minute of what Anuj has to share today. So, welcome, Anuj. It's an honor to have you here. First thing first, tell us about what inspired you to get into this, developing this platform.
I think when you have spent so much time in a particular domain or an industry, I feel you kind of become little enamored with that segment. I've always been very passionate about channel per se, whether it was working with some of the large global players in the capacity of channel manager or serving serving the partners in the capacity of their relationship manager, and in various in various other places where I was also part of system integration companies.
Right.
I felt that when you spend so much time in the industry, you start really getting passionate about one area of that. And for me, that was this whole concept which I feel about democratization of data.
Okay. Okay.
And I think that is what honestly pushed me into starting to think about a product. And that's how I stumbled into it, if you will. How do we get a more democratic data flow between solution providers and their ecosystem, if you will? That's the glue for me, which pushed me into entrepreneurship.
Okay. So, in your opinion, what are the areas where most of these SaaS solution providers they are struggling today?
In my view, I think the biggest challenge is identifying the right ecosystem, because as you start going from your initial set of customers who know you, and they will kind of cut some slack because uh, I'm sorry, they'll cut some slack because they know you. So the product which you are trying to sell them will still resonate well with them. But imagine the moment you start selling to unknown people, unknown organizations,
Hmm.
you start hitting growth bottlenecks. And I think that is where a lot of SaaS providers, a lot of new age SaaS providers who do not understand alternate channels of growth start faltering because you can only hire so many people, you can only hire so many field sales people. uh, to me, that is the start, that is one of the biggest bottlenecks. And the second area, which is I wouldn't say a bottleneck, but which is a challenge, is once I have onboarded the partners I want to onboard, how do I make my relationship stronger with a more collaborative way of working, rather than thinking about I am a vendor, I have so many partners, and they need to report. They need to come back to me with their sales figures. They need to come back to me with what they are doing. I think for people who do not understand relationship building from a channel perspective, I think struggle with that, in my opinion.
Okay, got it. Got it. And what I have also observed while we, consult to the technology solution providers, and I have interacted with few SaaS solution providers also. Normally, once you have a few customers, few, you know, uh, paying customers, to start with, there will be few free customers just to build the references, and then subsequently you have some few, paid customers also. Now, what happens ultimately, what I've seen is that they go out for funding, they get the funding, and the first thing they do is they recruit the sales people, sales team, and then they have one digital marketing person. And so this is the general approach. So do you think there is any problem with such approach?
Uh, I would say that, less of a problem, but the it is more about the usage of your capital.
Hmm.
In my view, is inefficient when you are trying to do everything yourself. And what I
Okay.
mean by that is, you are, and by the way, it is irrespective whether you get a funding or you are bootstrapped, or you're putting your any other way uh, of capital infusion. The fundamental model of looking at growing and doing everything on your own, to
Hmm.
me, is a very inefficient way of capital deployment.
Okay.
So imagine you get a external funding, or you do a initial friends and family round, or whatever, seed round, and then you start thinking that, hey, I have now this money. How many sales guys should I deploy?
Hmm.
How many locations should I deploy them in? How many segments should I then start carving out and deploying these people in?
Hmm.
Uh, the moment you start thinking that way, one is that, you are restricting your horizon in terms of what you can deploy, where you can deploy, and how much you can deploy. Because even if you get tens, 20s, $30 million worth of funding,
Hmm.
there is only a limit which you can hire yourself.
Yeah.
Plus the fact that every geography comes with its own nuances in terms of, how do you hire people, and so on and so forth, means that, there is a limit to which you can hire. So that is one aspect. The second aspect is, by the time you build your team, even if you were to build 100-member sales team, by the time you do that, chances are that, your better part of your financial year will be over.
Yes. Yes.
So to me, it is a very inefficient way of capital deployment, versus you do the same, but you do it in a way where you do initial resource allocation in a way where you have a direct model, you
Hmm.
have a digital model, and you also have an indirect model. And I think what happens then is that, your capital deployment becomes a lot more risk balanced, and you then can also understand which model is working for you in a fairly fast way, rather than thinking that I will only do direct recruitment of my sales team, or I will only do a digital model, or I'll only do a indirect model. if you uh, if you balance your approach of how you want to go to market, I think you can get much faster returns.
Got it. Got it. So some form of, you know, okay, we'll talk about it how do we arrive on that decision? So
Sure, sure.
we have some of these existing platforms also that claim that they can provide that reach to these SaaS companies, or they have a traditional route, like in the sense that the way in which uh, the methods that channel managers are recruited, and then they start doing it everything like manually. So
Yeah.
what are the areas, challenges, and problems most of the SaaS companies they face? And sometimes that also gives them some form of impression that maybe the channel route is not best for them. So what are the drawbacks in taking such approach?
So, if you look at, generally in my experience, the way this works is, now I want to recruit partners,
Hmm.
and I will hire either a head of sales, or I will recruit a business development manager, or I will recruit a channel manager, and they will then start recruiting partners.
Hmm.
To me, that is one of the starting problems of how not to start your channel journey, or your
Right.
channel building,
Hmm.
because it is not about whether it should be done by a sales head, or a BD head, or a channel head. It is about the process. And to your
Hmm.
point there, that uh, we were just talking about that before. Maybe first point should be, am I ready for the channel?
Okay.
When I say, am I ready for the channel, is my product ready for the channel? Because chances are that maybe the product is not even ready for the channel. And what happens is, when you don't think about that and start recruiting people to manage channel, what will happen eventually is that you will recruit people to manage channel, and
Hmm.
then when you actually start putting your product in front of the channel, you realize that the product is probably not even ready. And when I say product is not ready, product not being ready is not just about the technical aspects of the product. It
Hmm.
can be about the sales aspect of the product. It can be about the product, sales and technical and other enablement assets which may not be ready. It could be about the pricing strategy which you want to deploy in a particular geography or in a particular segment, and possibly there is a pushback which comes from the partners, but by the time it is already late. So I think, to me, the challenge people generally face is that they think that by recruiting channel managers, they are automatically starting to go the path of indirect channel GTM, which is not the case.
Okay.
So that is the starting fundamental problem of channel management.
Hmm. And what about the traditional route of recruiting channels? What exactly are the practical constraints of adopting such
So
approach?
yeah, sure. So by and large, the way people go about this is, I will go to a set of partners, and those partners can be value added resellers, they can be system integrators, they can be global system integrators, they can be distributors. And in my experience, most of the times people apply this approach of spray and pray. Let me recruit partners, and then possibly some of them will start firing.
Hmm.
And I think the traditional model of spraying and praying, does not work, because you are starting to paint everybody with the same brush.
Hmm.
Your product is very different from somebody else's product, your segment is very different from somebody else's segment.
Right.
So thinking that I will go to a GSI and GSIs will start working with me from day one, may not
Hmm.
work. By and
Hmm.
large, it doesn't work that way.
Hmm.
I will take my product to a distributor, and distributors would love to work with me because I have a great platform. Approach may or may not work, by and large doesn't work. So I think, again, if you look at the traditional way of looking at recruiting partners, quote unquote, uh, just does not work when you start looking at that approach for every segment, and start painting it with the same brush.
Got it. And I think there are like when it comes to identifying the right type of partners, discovery, we call it, right? So that I think is also another challenge area. I mean, how do I find who are the people in US or in Europe who could be my potential partners, right?
Absolutely. And to your point there, it is it is not just about localization, it
Mm,
is contextualizing and also making sure that the partners who are there
mm,
have the right skills
mm,
and the competence which you expect your product to demonstrate in front of your customer.
mm,
So, to your point that it is not just about I get a directory of, let's say, 100 partners who are in Germany, and in that I will probably identify 20, and then they will necessarily start working with me.
yes.
There is so much to that word discovery that unless until we refine that whole discovery process to be able to go to what we call in the channel world ideal partner profiles,
Mm,
and being able to exactly, at least to a very large extent, being able to pinpoint who are my ideal partners, and then approaching the problem saying that this is my segment, this is my vertical, if the partners are working in this category, possibly they are the right sort of partners. And
mm,
mind you, this is the iterative process, because
mm,
just because you have got 100 partners in your directory and then you are able to talk to 20 of them, not necessarily means that you will still be working with them
mm,
from day one. Chances are that you will have to do a couple of iterations, and hopefully in a couple of months or a quarter or two, you will come to a conclusion that out of those initial 100, maybe a 2 and 3
mm,
are the right ones for you. So it's like marriage, right? You think that you are getting into a good alliance, but
mm,
as you start talking to the person, you realize that it has to be a bidirectional process. So you are thinking that it is ideal partner profile, they have to
mm.
feel the same way, and hence I said it's an iterative process.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I believe that in terms of if there are different uh, countries, the laws are different, and there is like in terms of legal hassles and all that. That's where I think that also consumes some time.
So legalities, every
Agreements.
region,
Yeah.
every region, every geography has its own legal processes. What goes in terms of an NDA in India will not work as an NDA in the US, will not work
Mm,
in Europe, and so on and so forth. They have their own data privacy laws. So I
mm,
think all those need to be looked at in totality before
mm.
you decide to start working with or in a particular geography or a region.
Awesome. Good. So, so is there are there any like in your experience, are there like any factors or criterions based on which, if I am a founder of a SaaS company, uh, what are the things that I need to look into to understand if the channel route is an ideal route, or maybe if I take hybrid of direct and indirect route. So are there any like parameters or criterions based on which, as a founder, I can look into the whole thing?
Sure. So I generally, when I have this conversation with SaaS founders, the first thing I tell them is that you do not have to do it unless until you are 100% convinced that you are looking for an alternate route to market.
Hmm,
That's the first thing. Second thing is, unless until you are ready to commit and look at this as a long term bet, chances of failures are very high.
hmm,
So for if you ask me two top criteria I look at, and I always generally recommend to SaaS providers and SaaS founders before they even start thinking about indirect channel,
yeah.
is long term commitment right at the top, at the board level, hopefully, but definitely at the senior leadership level. And the second is patience, because unlike your salesperson, in an indirect route you have influence, or rather you are in the business of creating influence and not yielding direct power,
Hmm,
because you can recruit sales managers, and then you can put that influence on your team directly. But in
hmm,
this case, it is like, you recruit partners and then you need to influence them to be able to sell your product. So, and that influence does not happen overnight. It takes time. And you are also trying to convince somebody who, by the way, has maybe 10, 15, 20 more solutions to carry, that why is your solution better, or will make more sense, or will make more profitability, or will give them better edge over competition in the market. So it's a game of influence, and it is a game of patience.
Hmm.
So that's the first thing I say. And beyond that, it is about understanding where you want to position your product in terms of segment, in terms of geographies. Not every geography might want to be in, not every segment you want to be in. So there are, at least 10 to 15 different criterias you need to identify before you arrive at what is called the ideal partner profile.
Right. Got it. So before we get into the workflow of your platform, etc., do we have any any success story or on some case study that you want to highlight?
Sure. I think the one which I often talk about, including all the areas I spoke about, is is a cybersecurity, one of the largest cybersecurity players in India, from India, we work with.
Hmm.
And I will start the whole discussion around the use case with the fact that the decision to work or not work through an indirect route came literally from the CEO. So the
Okay.
CEO decided that if I need to grow across the globe, if I need to uh, expand my reach across the globe, indirect channel is to go, is
Hmm.
the way to go.
Yes.
And everything else then falls in place, because when you have a CEO or the leader of the organization understanding the value which indirect channel can bring to the table, then everyone else falls in line. And I mean it in a positive way, because
Yes.
then you have a executive sponsor who understands the value, and you are already ticking a box which says, do you have an executive sponsor? And nobody then questions, why are you doing it? So I
Hmm.
think that's the first point I would like to make. The second is, it is not about even the executive sponsor saying, hey, yes, I want to do, but the involvement of the leader of the organization in understanding what the channels ecosystem looks like, what it
Hmm.
can bring, and getting involved in decision making in terms of what is this ecosystem building towards, what are my goals for that ecosystem, what are the key KRAs for this practice. When I say practice, the ecosystem or the channel team, and then driving that week after week, month after month, quarter after quarter. That to me is the starting point. So the way, you know we started that discussion literally with two channel partners, and in about 3 quarters we were from we had grown from two channel partners to close to 100 plus partners,
Oh, wow. Super.
and driving from zero partner led, partner uh, driven opportunities to close to $3.5 million partner led
Hmm.
opportunities,
Hmm.
means that the growth has resulted not from just recruiting partners but also engaging deeper and deeper with the partners. And
So
that's the
so it happened in a year's time. How much time did it take?
yeah. So we started practically, almost, to this day last year. And very fortunate, we very fortunate that we are talking almost to the year after that initial launch.
Hmm.
So we started from there, and we started with the initial Indian
Hmm.
rollout, and then we went to the Middle East, and then now we have started about 4 to 6 weeks back. We have started in the US geography. So it has literally started, as I said, with two partners going on upwards of 130 plus partners. So the growth has been phenomenal. But
Okay.
I'll just like to mention here that it would not have been possible without the involvement of the senior leaders and
Hmm.
the CEO in day to day operational decision making. And now it has come to a stage where it has started becoming very automated. So now
Hmm.
it has kind of reached cruise speed,
Yes.
where
Yes.
now the lower rung of the organization can then start kind of taking it from there.
Hmm. Got it. So initially, you need a lot of involvement and a lot of push coming from the top leadership. And subsequently, once
Even
the momentum is picked up, then it is fine.
absolutely. Even today, by the way, Rajnish, even today, we still have we still have a weekly cadence call where
Hmm.
the leaders, the sales leader of the organization, the CEO of the organization, get on a call and discuss maybe not operational areas, but talk about strategy, talk about where
Hmm.
are we going right, where are we going wrong, where can we improve, and so on and so forth. So I think that is, to me, the
Important.
best way to uh, build it to a point where after maybe the first year or the first couple of quarters, it can then reach cruise speed and then go from there.
Yes. Got it. So, so when it comes to like sort of, if I'm the founder and I just want to explore uh, Channelworks, like if it is the right solution for me or not. So what is the workflow like? How does it happen? If it is possible for you to show uh, sort of a quick demo of how the uh, whole thing work as such. How
Sure.
easy it is, how difficult it is, what are the different
Sure.
features? Do I have reporting? Can I analyze KPIs? Can I do the performance analysis of the partners? And
Sure.
what are the like, can I go for multi-tier? Like I recruit one distributor in US and the distributor is recruiting partners there. So how is like if you can quickly show.
Sure. So, just to start that, from the first point. So yes, we do have a, a, a free trial which some of our customers uh, typically like to start with. Uh, as I said, the journey of a channel uh, building, ecosystem building, literally always starts or should start with discovery.
Hmm.
And then once you have discovered the partners, you have started onboarding them, it starts from there. We have tried to keep the ethos of Channelworks as a platform exactly like that. So you literally start with discovering partners and then you go from there. And since
Okay.
you spoke about uh, Rajnish, I think you may have to enable screen sharing.
Can you do it now?
Yeah, yeah. Just give me a second. Yeah. So what you see here is a very quick snapshot. I'll try and cover as much as I can in a couple of minutes. As I said, you literally start with discovery or discovering of partners globally. It's a global uh, platform, meaning you can search and discover partners in any part of the world. For example, let's say you are a cybersecurity player and you're looking for partners in let's say in Australia, and you are looking for partners who work in small and medium business space, and they are and they are typically security partners,
Right.
and the geography being Australia.
Yeah.
You can literally in a couple of clicks identify who these
Oh,
partners are in
wow.
a particular geography sitting here.
Okay.
And then what we are doing on top of that is curating and collating more and more information about these partners. Who are these partners? Where are they based out of?
Hmm.
What are the key skills of these partners? What kind of partners are they? Are they resellers? Are they system integrators? Are they GSIs? And so on and so forth. And the goal is to be able to give you as close a relation with this partner by being able to get publicly available information and then curate it for you, sitting anywhere in
Hmm.
the world. So that literally is the starting point of Channelworks. Once you have started working with these partners, the manageability layer comes in terms of, for example, being able to visually understand how your ecosystem is building. So you spoke you spoke about this fact that I may be looking at a distribution led model. For example, who is uh, who is a distributor, who is a reseller, who is an ISV. So for non-channel savvy uh, executives, what we have done is we have started creating tribal knowledge within the platform. So you can actually, as you recruit distributors, as you recruit partners, you can actually onboard them and then give them the relevant persona. So a distributor can log in as a distributor, a reseller can
Oh,
log in as a
okay.
reseller,
Okay.
and they behave, the their logins behave accordingly.
Hmm.
So that's literally how you start. Every value chain, every part of this value chain get their own login. And as you can see here, the manageability layer essentially allows you to collaborate bidirectionally with your partners.
Okay.
So right from enabling them to have a single place for sharing sales collaterals or training documentation or sales documentation or pricing documentation, to being able to share leads and opportunities, or partners being able to, or you being able to assign POCs and creating automative workflows. All those is automated so that as a channel manager at a vendor location, or as a alliance person at a partner location, you have the same data models, so that you don't have to worry about, is my do I have to upload an Excel sheet, or do I have to send it in this format or that format. And to make sure that there are integrations, we have also created integrations with uh, to start with very known third party systems like Salesforce and Zoho, and we are adding
Okay.
more and more as we speak. So it allows you to have a very bidirectional collaboration with your partners and with your alliances, if you're a partner. So
Got
and
it.
to your last point, how do you track? So
Reports.
data, your reporting, your dashboarding in terms of how many partners have logged in, what are the daily trends across leads, opportunities, POCs. I'm sorry. Weekly trends across leads, opportunities, POCs, weekly progression trends, or progression trends or creation trends across various other facets like programs and certifications. So this can then become your single to go place for all things related to your alliances. And similarly, from a partner perspective, and that's what kind of is so exciting about Channelworks, that for any channel uh, partner or a ecosystem, this becomes a single place for them to work with multiple vendors. So they don't have to then log into multiple vendor portals. They can actually log into one place and then track all their alliances under one roof.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Amazing. Amazing. I think this has made the whole efforts so simple and easy. Of course, we deal with human beings, so human resistance is always there, or whatever challenges they come. So initially, as you mentioned very clearly, that initially the the leadership is required, the involvement of leadership is required, and subsequently, when it comes to like spending time uh, on on this manual process of discovering, finding it out, talking to them, I think that part is taken care. In just one click or few clicks, you can find out the partners who are there, and then you can start the process. Second part is in terms of NDAs, etc. That is also being taken care, reporting. Uh, so I think overall the value proposition is quite high, and uh, rather than to have the trial and error method, sort of trying to go out in some unknown country and trying to figure it out type, it gives a very easy way to evaluate if it is a, and the chances are that if the product has a value proposition and you understand there is a potential in certain geography, then it becomes very easy to put all the other stuff in place in the shortest possible time. Okay, Anuj. So if someone is interested, how do they reach? What do they do?
So the best is, they could go to our website, fill up a very short form, and reach out to us.
Hmm.
They could always send a direct mail to me at anuj@channelworks.com or sales@channelworks.com, and or reach out to me on LinkedIn. Either ways, I think the best way would be to go to our website and just send a request for a demo or a discussion. Absolutely.
Great, great. Thank you. And alternatively, you can reach out to me also. You can direct message me on LinkedIn, and I can pass on your messages to Anuj. So if you are
Absolutely.
connected with me, you can pass it on to me. Connect with Anuj. He's there. And Channel Works is not, there is no E in it. CHANNL. Okay. So it is
Channel
not
with a twist, without a E.
channel with a twist. So thank you, Anuj. Thank you very much for your time. And it was wonderful talking to you today. I look forward to
Likewise.
talk to you again, and maybe we
Absolutely.
can take some other challenges, other problems when it comes to SaaS or any other solution provider who would want to reach out to the global market and where you are making their life relatively simple and easy.
Would love to, Rajneesh. Thanks so much for having me today. And it was so good to catch up again. And yeah, talk to you soon again. Thank you so
Chalo.
much.
Thanks. Bye for now.
Thank
Thank you.
you.